Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chop and Slice. I am one of the co-hosts, Michael. This is
Brandon.
and we are here to talk about The Night House.
Ooh.
2021. And what a movie it was.
It's pretty spooky.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this movie. I've seen it twice, once in theater and just now. Really enjoyed overall the movie. I thought it was beautifully shot, beautifully filmed.
And the effects were really good, too.
The effects were great. The acting was... Rebecca Hall in this...
Pretty spot on.
She needs an award. She was just great. But we're going to break it down. Like I said, we usually do. We skip some scenes, but usually scene by scene pretty much. And, yeah. Let's get going on it. So the movie opens up with Beth. That's Rebecca Hall's character, her name in the movie. She's coming back from her husband's funeral. Very depressed at this point. We don't know what happened to her husband. We see that she is watching clips of the wedding. And then
Well, she was drinking a glass of wine.
drinking a glass of wine, watching clips.
Holding that, I think it was the suicide note. Something.
It ended up, yep, that was the suicide note. And then we later see her in the next scene. She's laying in bed by herself. She grabs onto the pillow, looking for Owen, which is her husband's name. He's not there. And then she later hears knocking at the door. And we don't know who it is or what it is. And then, she opens the door and then there's nothing. Literally, there's nothing.
Yeah, just nothing.
And then, fast forward to the next day, she goes into work as a teacher. She's a teacher. She's running late to looked like a teacher's meeting or something. That's where we meet her friend Claire. And
Was this before or after, though, when the bitchy parent came in?
This was before.
Okay.
The next scene is when the parent comes in. But before that, we see Beth looking up houses to rent or to move into, to buy.
Right,
rent,
and then they appear as guns, though, when she searched up for, houses.
Which is creepy because the way her husband killed herself, we later find out is a gun through the mouth. Oof. In the boat, which she explains to this angry parent that comes in. You gave my child to see, and you weren't even there. And she said,
She's
yeah,
like, listen, bitch.
I had personal reasons on why I wasn't there. And she's like, yeah, my husband
Shot himself
in the mouth.
with a gun she said that they didn't even know they had.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's pretty heavy stuff.
After that, we see her meet her friend Mel, who is her neighbor. He's just kind of helping her go through things. And
What kind of a name is Mel for a guy?
Mel's a guy name.
Is it?
Yeah.
For real?
Mel's a very interesting name. Then we later see her watching a video of Owen doing some construction work on the house. Building. You see his abs or his biceps or whatever. It's very check out my biceps pretty much. It's like he has his shirt all rolled up. Looks ridiculous. Then she's just kind of looking through some stuff. She sees a blueprint of the house, but it's not the house she's living in.
Right.
It's a different house.
Different.
Then after that, she's basically in bed, and then the stereo goes off with their song. When she calls out. I don't know how it goes, but something like that. Then she later gets a text from Owen telling her to calm down. And that's where she looks out the window and sees Owen butt naked.
Yeah, and it really zooms in on the ass, too.
Yeah, you see it. And,
Yeah, like yeah.
it's like
I didn't need to see that.
I don't know. I don't know what that's for. Then later on, the next morning, she wakes up in like not her bed. She was obviously
On the floor.
Yeah, it looked like she was dreaming, honestly. And then she goes through Owen's phones and then finds out he never texted me off this phone. So that was like, she doesn't know what's going on with that. Then she's going through his pictures and sees a picture of what she believes to be another woman.
Right. Kind of. But you can't really see her face, though.
And she goes up to her friend Claire and was like, "Look at this. This isn't me." And her friend basically tells her, "Hey, stop thinking about Owen."
And she kind of comes off as a bitch. Like, what were you doing with his phone anyway? You know, going through it.
Like, just remember him how he was to you, and that should be it. Just forget it if he even cheated on you. Which I understand. She's trying to, don't overthink it. Don't add more to your
pain.
To your pain, basically. So after that, she goes out to the bar with her friends. They're all having drinks. They're all laughing, having a good time. And then, somehow, one way or another, the conversation about her husband's suicide comes up. She pulls out the suicide note that she keeps on her.
And it had some blood on it, too.
Yeah, it was very weird. And it said, "You were right. There is nothing after you. You're safe now."
Mm-hmm.
So, literally, there is nothing after you. You're safe. After that, her friend drives her home. Beth tells her friend, Claire, about how she died in a car accident a while ago, and then said there was nothing but, a dark tunnel. There was nothing, she said, after death. And she's later revived. They airlifted her, everything like that. And then immediately after, she's laying down on her friend's petting her hair, and then she sleeps, and then bang!
Bam! Yeah.
All this loud noise.
Doors open and shit.
Doors flying open, and then she sees, like, these women outside running past her on the lake. Then she later falls into the boat that her husband shot himself in. This is
the part where I get a little confused. Like, she went back to her house, but she didn't go back to her house. It was like, I didn't.
That's a
bizarre.
Dream. It was a dream, I believe. So she falls into the boat. She sees the night house that she's in across the lake, which is creepy. So, she falls into the boat. She goes into that night house and then sees herself sleeping on the couch. So she sees herself on the couch, and then she wakes up off that same couch.
Right.
So I believe that was a dream. I don't think that was any paranormal stuff going on there. And then she later looks up pictures on, I believe, Owen's laptop, and she finds a ton of photos of all these women.
But when she comes across that particular photo, the one that she found on her phone, how did she get it to where she can, like, reveal her face? Did he, like, take many pictures of her?
He took many pictures.
Okay.
So later on after that, she goes searching around in the woods. I'm not sure why. I don't remember. Maybe to find this house he was building or something. I think she got a clue about that. Mel later stops her and was trying to get her away from doing that, which we'll talk about later. She discovers this house that's, like, not built. It's kind of looks shedish.
Yeah, right.
But it's big. But it's
in construction.
Yeah, it's mid-construction. It's a lot of wood around it. A lot of stuff like that. She goes into the house and then sees, like, this Louvre doll.
Yeah.
With 13 pins.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, it's basically a voodoo doll with pins in it. 13 pins. And then she goes to Mel. She goes to talk to Mel. And she goes into his pad and asks what Owen what was he building? Why was he building a house? And then Mel later explains to Beth that Owen told him he had urges and he found ways to keep those urges at bay.
Pretty creepy.
She asked Mel what those urges were, and Mel said he didn't know. He didn't want to know. So later on, she's searching through all Owen's stuff and boxes and stuff. She finds books about deceiving like spirits and stuff like that, how to trick a spirit.
Right, and she's looking up like the author's name, and then she goes and
she goes to a bookstore called Books and Melodies, and then she later meets a woman there that kind of looks like her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the woman in the picture Owen had. Very creepy. So later that night, she confronts the woman. The woman tells her, "Me and your husband never did anything. He didn't cheat on you with me, and whatnot." She wouldn't give him any more. She wouldn't give Beth any more information than that. She goes back home. Later that night, though, the chick from the bookstore,
she goes to her house, and she was like, "How did you know where to go?" And she was like, "Because I've been here before."
Yeah, that's where it got good.
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa!" So she sits her down and gives her some alcoholic beverage. And they
start discussing some things.
Yeah.
The lady tells Beth that that Owen actually took her to that house that he was building. And that was very creepy, and was talking about how he put his hand around her throat, was like trying to choke her, and he's like, and she was like, "Please stop," and then moved his hand, and Owen, I guess, later apologized and dropped her off at home. And then the lady left after telling Beth that story. So Beth decides, I have no idea why, to walk out in the rain.
To go back to the shed.
The creepy house.
The house, right.
And then later drops a flashlight on one of the floorboards and accidentally steps through it.
And finds a bunch of dead corpses laying around.
Bunch of dead bodies wrapped up of dead women. That presumably was the women he was taking photographs of. That's very interesting. That's when the twist started happening.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, he's not a cheater. No, he's a serial killer. So.
Yeah, I think that's a little worse.
I would say so. So then she goes back to the house. She doesn't know what to think.
Just drinks more wine.
Then she's in the shower, and then bang. That's when the stereo plays. Out of nowhere. And it starts playing their song.
And it's pretty loud, too.
Yeah, super loud. And then bang, it stops.
Stops as she starts to get closer to the steps. And it like goes dark down there, too.
Yeah, very creepy. And then she said, "Please just show me, where are you? Are you here? I miss you, Owen, I miss you." And then she looks up. She says she sees "here" on the mirror, written with, on the mirror here in the bathroom. So later she gets up, she wipes the mirror, and then she turns around and she thinks she sees Owen. She like grabs onto this.
And you can kind of see like her fingertips like she's touching something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you can later see something is touching her, moving up her skin.
And she says, "Are you Owen?" And I think he said, "No, I'm not Owen."
That was when
it's like, it's when your heart kind of drops, It's like, whoa.
She said, "Owen?" And he's like, "I'm not Owen." And you're like, "Oh,
damn."
So
then it just gets a little fucked up from here. I don't know. She's having dreams, or she's being
this ghost
haunted.
is like grabbing her, pulling her, and you just see all these like flashbacks, scenes of Owen killing these women, choking them.
Right, and you see her just being dragged across.
All through that. And later on, we see Owen sitting on a couch. And she goes up and talks to him. And it's not Owen. It's the spirit or whatever called Nothing. That's all we know about the spirit. And he explains that Owen was trying to trick him into thinking that he killed Beth, that Owen was actually trying to kill Beth. So the whole point of the movie is basically Owen is not killing these women because he's just psychotic. He's killing these women
To keep Beth safe.
to keep Beth safe from the spirit that said, you ran away from me after the first time, you left me after the first time we met. Hinting back to when Beth actually died. She met the spirit Nothing. So, when there is nothing after you, that's what it calls back to. So, basically, when he's buying these books on how to trick the spirit, it's talking about the spirit Nothing. He's trying to trick that spirit into believing Beth actually is dead. The spirit said it worked for a little bit, but then he figured it out. So he kept getting in an Owen ear, killer, 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 killer. Spirit wanted her so bad. It doesn't explain why, but very weird.
No, I think it just kind of goes into the credits. Well,
No,
she was holding the gun in the...
Yeah, she's later brought out
to the boat.
No,
right.
Let's not skip where she was like, her body was contorted into that doll, basically.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then that's where she's dragged out onto the boat. Mm-hmm. And then it's Owen sitting there butt naked again. Holding up the gun. Holding the gun that he shot himself with. Passing it on to Beth.
Wanting her to do it.
Wanting her to join him. Join Nothing. Nothing wants Beth back. Said, you left me after the first time we met. He wants her back. And she doesn't, it's... Then her friend Claire shows up. See, it's dark time. It's nighttime when Beth is in the boat. But when her friend shows up, it's light. It's daytime. So, I think it's a dream. It is a dream. So, basically, Beth is running down to the boat. Or no, Claire is running down to the boat, not Beth. Beth is in the boat. And then you see Mel running around, seeing what's going on, too. Mel's a good friend, the neighbor. Claire, her friend. They're both running to go save Beth because they believe Beth is about to shoot herself with this weapon, with this gun. So Claire goes running into the water. It's building up anticipation. Is she going to blow her brains out? Is she not? You know what? She says, no. She throws down the gun. And basically... Claire pulls her down off the boat and rescues her. And then Mel says... And then you see Beth looking back at the boat. And Mel's like, what are you looking at? There's nothing there. And Beth says, exactly.
And then you just see that shadow.
Then you see the shadow on the boat.
And then that's end credit.
So we could discuss whether...
Yeah, let's have a little open discussion. I believe that this... was definitely a paranormal movie.
And I believe it's psychological. I think she was having a lot of breakdowns because every time she would, you would see something go wrong with the door, there's knocking, she would end up waking up in her house, like in a different spot. I think that was just a dream. I think on the boat, I think she was drunk a lot. She was having breakdowns. I think she was probably on something. I mean, her husband just died, just killed himself. I think her husband was a legit, was psychotic. I believe he had urges, like he told Mel. I think he was killing women similar to him, probably because he at times he probably wanted to kill his wife, but couldn't.
So you believe that he was actually killing these women?
Yes. I think her husband was a serial killer.
Okay, because I was under the impression like you thought that was just all in her head too.
No, I think her husband was a legit serial killer. I just think just because
he was just a sick fuck.
Yeah, I think he was just sick in the head. And I don't know, maybe he was using this whole thing as a ploy or something. I think this was a psychological thriller affecting her.
I don't know. It's like you just see like her reaching out and like you just
again, but she always wakes up though. She's always sleeping when this stuff is happening. You know? Like when she sees herself sleeping, she wakes up. It's a dream. That was made pretty obvious. She wasn't actually, in the boat. You know what I'm saying? She woke up and saw herself. Well, when she walked into that other night house, she saw herself sleeping. And then that's when she woke up. Well, every time she was getting haunted, she would end up waking up. So, I think it was just in her head. Like this whole if you've seen the movie, guys, and hopefully you have, I believe it was just all in her head. I could see.
I don't know. Yeah, that is a good point, but I don't know. It just seemed very.
There are some things like why would he have those books? Why would he have them underlined? I get that. I think you can look at it both ways. I think it's.
I guess however you want to.
I mean, you can convince me. I can see why people would think it was a ghost or literally nothing. But to me,
yeah, you got the books and the doll and.
Yeah, I think he was just sick though. I mean, to me, why?
Well, but then she's also got like this spirit talking to her. See, if this was all a dream, I don't think she could, because dreams are like what you think in your head, and it's like she wouldn't think of like spirit telling Owen to do this. She would be thinking of
I think what was going on is she knew what she saw when she died, and she used that as an excuse for Owen. I think she's using it as an excuse on why he killed those women. Because in her own mind, she can't believe that her husband would do this. So she's trying
no wife would. But.
She's trying to look for a scapegoat on a reason. That's in her back of her mind. Like, maybe this is the reason. And she's sticking with that. That spirit is what caused her husband to do it. When in reality, no. That spirit doesn't exist. It's all in her head.
Well, you want to get to the ratings on this one, Michael? Or?
Yeah, I'd give it... Considering Rebecca Hall is one of the best actresses going today. She's also in The Gift, which I loved. A couple of other films I can't think of, but beautiful actress, great actress. And her performance was outstanding in this film.
I would agree.
And the way it was shot, beautiful. All the illusions and stuff. Beautifully shot film. I'm going to give it a 9 of 10.
9 out of 10?
Yeah, I just thought the movie was great. I'm not going to go 10 out of 10 because it was a little slow-paced at times, but that's part of building up the anticipation, storytelling. But the way it was shot, directed, filmed, everything was nice. I love the movie. Great acting. Yeah, I just thought it was a great movie. How about you, Brand? Give your thoughts on it.
So. I'd say I'd give this movie a 6 out of 10. It's just not exactly my kind of movie. I'm not really into not really into psychological or supernatural type horror. So it's not really my kind of movie. I mean, I appreciated it for what it was. It definitely kept you on your toes. Not knowing what's going to happen next. It had a lot of suspense, great effects, and yeah, Beth was amazing. She was a very strong character, stood her ground. She didn't take no one's shit, so she wasn't like all helpless, like, oh, come save me. Like she She was very, I got this, and she was very ballsy too, walking into that house and everything, and like,
Yeah, she was a tough
like
woman.
she had she had friends that were like willing to help her. Like me, I would have gotten the fuck out of that house, bro. Like, I would have got out of that house. I wouldn't continue staying
She
in it.
enjoyed the house for some reason.
She was just drawn to it, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
So that leaves it at a Chop and Slice rating of
15 out of 20.
15 out of 20. All right. 15 out of 20. That is the official rating.
Of Chop and Slice. So, again, go ahead and watch the movie if you haven't seen it. Please see it. It's a masterpiece. Well,
And if you hadn't
I
seen
don't know
it,
if I go
sorry,
that
we
far as a
spoiled
masterpiece,
it for
but it's
you,
a great... Yeah, spoilers. Sorry, guys. But yeah, go ahead and go see that movie. Came out in 2021. Was originally slated for 2020, then pandemic hit and stuff like that. So, beautiful movie. Rebecca Hall, I just can't say enough how amazing she is as an actress. And yeah, I really like this movie, and it's a movie I'd show anybody. Unlike one movie. I love this movie, so go ahead. And if you could please like and subscribe, we'd definitely appreciate that. And yeah, guys, we love you all. We love ya. Thanks for the support.
And peace out.
And please be a good husband and wife, and don't hide anything.
Yeah. And stop being weird.
Stop being weird.
Yeah, you. All right, that'll wrap it up today. All right, later, folks.
Later, guys.